Before this week, you probably never heard of a guy named Tom Perkins, but he's a pretty interesting dude. Multi-millionaire venture capitalist, formerly married to famed novelist Danielle Steele, and in 1996 was convicted in France of involuntary manslaughter for a yacht accident that killed a man. Tom Perkins' star has risen this week because, as a multimillionaire, he wrote a letter to the Wall Street Journal in which he compared the rising populist sentiment against the rich in America to Kristallnacht in Nazi Germany. Quote, I would call attention to the parallels of fascist Nazi Germany to San Francisco's war on its 1%. Kristallnacht was unthinkable in 1930. Is its descendant progressive radicalism unthinkable now? And then, in a pretty incredible follow-up interview, Perkins appeared on Bloomberg TV to apologize, kind of.
Do you regret this comparison?
Yes. I talked to the head of the Anti-Defamation League, Abe Foxman, this morning, following up on a letter I had sent over the weekend apologizing for the use of the word Kristallnacht. It was a terrible word to have chosen. More
than 90 Jews were killed in Kristallnacht, 30,000 people put in concentration camps.
Right.
What were you going for? Analogy.
The Jews were only 1% of the German population. I guess my point was that when you start to use hatred against a minority, it can get out of control. Let the rich do what the rich do, which is get richer, but along the way, they bring everybody else with them. They could buy a six-pack of Rolexes for this, but so what? I've created some billionaires, but I, unfortunately, am not one.
Are you divorced from reality?
I don't know if anybody can answer that. Truthfully, I don't think so.
And it all might have ended there. Multimillionaire plutocrat says something ridiculous, sort of apologizes, goes back to being a plutocrat. End of story. Except then, amazingly, the Wall Street Journal editorial page, the official organ of movement conservatism in this country, came to Perkins' defense. Quote, while claiming to be outraged at the Nazi reference, the critics seem more incensed. Mr. Perkins dared to question the politics of economic class warfare. Maybe the critics are afraid that Mr. Perkins is onto something about the left's political method. The point was essentially, okay, maybe Kristallnacht was a little over the top, but basically Tom Perkins was right. And crucially, this is not an isolated view. Remember in 2010 when Jonathan Alter reported this little tidbit from billionaire Steven Schwartzman, quote, it's a war, Schwartzman said of the struggle with the Obama administration over increasing taxes on private equity firms. It's like when Hitler invaded Poland in 1939. And don't forget this gem from Grover Norquist's appearance on Fresh Air with Terry Gross back in 2003.
Excuse me one second. Did you just compare the estate tax with the Holocaust?
No, the morality that says it's okay to do something to a group because they're a small percentage of the population is the morality that says that the Holocaust is okay.
I wrote an entire book about the psychology and the psychopathologies of the American elite. And if there's one thing I've taken away, it is that there is nothing more destructive than a ruling class that simultaneously has too much power and is genuinely convinced it's being persecuted. And that is the situation we have now. And history has shown that is a very unstable equilibrium indeed.